All right, so let's jump right in. We're going to travel back in time, like 900 years, to tackle one of life's biggest questions, marriage. And our guide? Well, he's one of the most influential thinkers in Islamic history, Al-Ghazali. Now, his book on marriage, it's not just some dusty old text. It's this incredible spiritual deep dive that, you'll see, brings up some questions that feel surprisingly modern. And here it is, the central question he's wrestling with. For Al-Ghazali, this was not just about signing a social contract. No, it was a massive, monumental choice with consequences that could echo into eternity. Think about it. Could marriage be the very thing that brings you closer to God? Or could it be a trap, something that pulls you completely off your spiritual path? That's a pretty heavy dilemma, right? So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll get into the debate itself. Then we'll look at the pros and the cons, the case for and against marriage. And finally, we'll see what he actually advises to make it all work. Right, so first up, the debate. And you've got to understand, for Al-Ghazali, this was not about finding the one in the way we talk about it today. The decision to get married was more like a spiritual calculation. You had to put everything on these spiritual scales and ask one simple question. Is this going to bring me closer to God or push me further away? And this slide really lays out the high stakes we're talking about. It's like a spiritual double-edged sword. On one side, marriage could be this incredible path to worship, a way to get closer to God. But on the other side, it could be a total distraction, leading to sin, compromise, and even spiritual ruin. According to Al-Ghazali, the outcome is anything but guaranteed. Okay, so with risks that high, you might be asking yourself, why even bother? Well, Al-Ghazali actually makes a really powerful case for marriage. He lays out 5 key spiritual advantages. The idea is that if you do it right, marriage isn't just good for the world around you, it's incredibly good for your soul. So let's walk through these 5 points. First up, procreation. The idea here is that by having children, you're literally participating in God's plan for humanity. 2, satisfying desire. This one's pretty straightforward. It's about protecting yourself from temptation. 3 is companionship, finding that comfort and peace for your soul, which helps you focus on worship. Number 4 is all about household management. Having a partner to run the home frees you up for your spiritual work and study. And number 5, this one is really interesting. It's about spiritual discipline. The day-to-day struggles of marriage, the need for patience and responsibility. He saw that as a kind of spiritual workout for the soul. And this quote really sums it all up beautifully. The best of possessions is a righteous wife who helps him with respect to the things of the hereafter. So the perfect partner isn't just someone you get along with, it's someone who is basically your spiritual teammate, actively helping you on your journey. The marriage itself becomes the vehicle to get closer to God. That's the huge potential he's talking about. But okay, just when you think he's made a solid case for marriage, he flips the script. Because he was intensely aware that for all its good, marriage could also be a total disaster. He points out 3 really serious risks, things that could completely throw a person's spiritual life off the rails. And let's be clear, these are not just minor annoyances we're talking about. These are major spiritual pitfalls. So number 1, the financial burden. The stress of providing for a family could seriously tempt you to cut corners or do things you shouldn't. 2, failing your duties as a spouse. Not being patient, not being fair, that's a huge moral failure in his book. And the third one might be the most dangerous of all, just getting completely distracted. You get so wrapped up in family and kids and work that God just fades into the background. Now, this is where it gets pretty radical. Al-Ghazali basically says that if you're not confident you can handle these 3 big risks, then it is actually better, spiritually safer, to just stay single. I mean, think about that. For him, the number 1 priority was protecting your relationship with God, and if marriage was going to jeopardize that, you were better off without it. So here we are with this high-stakes dilemma. On one hand, incredible spiritual benefits. On the other, devastating risks. So what's the solution? How do you get all the good stuff while dodging all the bad? Well, according to Al-Ghazali, it all comes down to one single, incredibly important decision. And here it is, the key. It all hangs on the character of the person you marry. That's it. The entire spiritual outcome of your marriage, whether it's a blessing or a curse, depends on who your spouse is. So for him, choosing a partner wasn't really about romance. It was about spiritual risk management. So he then gives this very specific checklist, 8 qualities to look for in a wife. And yeah, some of these are definitely a product of the 12th century for sure, but look at what's right at the top of the list: piety or religious devotion and good character. These were non-negotiable for him. Why? Because a pious partner is someone who is on the same team, helping you get all those spiritual benefits we talked about. And good character? That's the foundation for everything else. It's what makes the patience and fairness of married life possible. All the other things on the list, from beauty to family background, were way, way less important than those first two. So really, when you boil it all down, this is the core message. For Al-Ghazali, marriage is not the end goal. It's not really about finding your soulmate or achieving your own personal happiness. It's a tool. It's a path. And it's a huge responsibility. Its worth is completely tied to what you put into it and why you're doing it in the first place. It's a means to a much, much higher end, which is getting closer to God. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on, doesn't it? Today, we tend to see marriage almost entirely through the lens of romance and finding personal fulfillment. So how does this 900-year-old idea, the idea of partnership as a tough but rewarding spiritual discipline, how does that challenge our modern views? Does it enrich them? It's definitely something to think about.